Good day all. Went out for a drive in the Sierra Base Locust kit car last weekend. I was quite lucky. Went out, did probably around about 130 miles by the time I went to the start point at Newlands Corner in Guildford. Did 80 miles down to Brighton and then back up again after breakfast. And lucky enough, I literally got outside the house, parked the car up, got out to get my various keys out, got back in the car and it wouldn't start. So I was very lucky not to have an issue on the route. Car's based on the Sierra Sapphire, quite a late one. The ignition barrels are a bit notorious for playing up. Normally the wiring looms or the piece of the wire that goes from the back of the ignition barrel to the loom normally burns up. So typically this sort of thing normally overheats, this or the other half of it, which is obviously where it connects to the loom. I'm not sure this is the exact replacement loom section, but it's certainly what I needed in the end. Did some diagnosis when I got back in the car when I was trying to start it, and what I found was when you were turning the ignition, obviously it won't work now because it's all disconnected, but in theory I could get sort of position 2 was sort of somewhere between, the lights would come on somewhere between sort of 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, but as soon as you try to move it to position 3 to start it, the whole of the dashboard would just go off. So I effectively diagnosed pretty quickly that I had an issue with the ignition. So I managed to, by hook or by crook, to sort of hold it, drive it to the driveway, and then just push it into the garage just by sort of holding it somewhere between the 2 positions. Later that evening, came outside, took it all apart, and what I already sort of suspected is the actual back of the ignition actually screws on, where are we? 2 scrub screws, one goes there, one goes there, and it effectively then pulls out the back of the actual ignition block. So if I turn the key, you can simply see that the other end of it, whilst I'm turning the key, turns the lock bit and then connects underneath here to a connector block I've got underneath my dashboard, which isn't the right one, because clearly my one previously had already had issues with the loom, so I'd already done some sort of repairs to it over the years. Yeah, so literally just screws through those 2 holes, goes around and plugs in. It's exactly the same happens when you put a key or a screwdriver in there. When I still had it connected up, it would only work again when you fiddle around with that. So using the reasonably visible numbers on the back of there, one on the world's favourite auction site, and obviously the bit I'm after is exactly on there as it is, listed down as an RS2000 full blah blah blah, so various varieties of cars. Couldn't find a Sierra one, so exactly Sierra one. So the intention is to try and cut these off of here. I didn't have a lot of luck last time when I was trying to resolder these. This is why this is not as pretty as it used to be, but I've previously resoldered those, so I'd rather keep those connections on there as they are. So keep that lot, cut the plug off, cut it in an appropriate place, and then butt crimp all the wires. It looks like it's got the original colouring system as well. So the main red's obviously the incoming, and then you've got a black and yellow. There's 2 yellows on there and 1 on mine. That's obviously just the accessories and stuff like radio, and obviously the blue one's going to be probably going to be the ignition. So yeah, I'm going to end up cutting them off, butt crimp my original connector back on again, and then obviously try to refit it. So hopefully in a while I can get the car up and running again, and then I can finally actually give it a wash, because I'm actually going to be using it again next weekend. It's still got yeah, muck and crap of it from last Sunday. So let's crack on and try and get it sorted out, so we can get the cowling back on, get it all back in one piece, and then yeah, I can work out if I can go out for my next run. Right, just cut them in pieces. If this one had been actually longer, I've actually staggered the cuts like a saw sort of version, so maybe a bit of a gap. That way, when you solder that on there, you wouldn't have ended up with one big clump of solder joints in one place. But if you stagger them out, it would make the loom look a bit better. But as it is, because there's now a lot of distance, I'm going to end up with a few solders all in one place. But yeah, but normally you try and stagger it out over maybe 3 or 4 inches, so it's gently attaches. So the red would be nice and long, the yellow would be not quite as long, and the blue at the end, and the yellow would be in the middle. So you just stagger it all in. Yeah, but I've got no choice but to try and crack on and see how I get on. Right, they're all soldered up, so obviously the heat shrink is a little bit bigger than the original wire, depending on which wire size you want, different size of the heat shrink. Just try and push it over there, a little bit of a twist, and then yeah, get the heat gun out. Just to obviously put an appropriate amount of heat, not too much, so you split the actual tubing, but it'll just reduce in size. So it might be a little bit noisy, but I'm going to go trying to show you how it reduces down. Turn it around, get to the other side. See, it's reduced down a bit already. I'm going to give it a bit more licks with it. That one needs to be done as well yet. So yeah, I'll do it with 2 ounce be easier than 1. I can try and get it down properly then. Right, managed to get underneath and re-plug it back in again. As you can see, the white plug at the top of the loom there. Not that easy at my age, getting underneath the dashboard and the seat. We've got there in the end. So basically I'm going to try and share it if I can show it. But yeah, by using the screwdriver now, I can actually get the 3 proper positions on the ignition switch. That's obviously the off position. And as I said, the back of the key, or the prong of the ignition lock, goes into here. So that will be your accessory position, which just obviously does stuff like the lights and maybe your radio. That's the ignition position, obviously starts the fuel pump up. And the last position is the start position. So all good and well. Well, not too much of a fight. Managed to get the bottom cowling back on again, get the plug in. I've also put a cable tie through the actual plug from up the top and around the bottom, so just make sure that plug, which obviously is a crucial part, doesn't come apart. It also helped me put it back together again a little bit more, because obviously it's quite hard to get both hands in there to squeeze it up. It's all back together again. Car's a bit cold, so it won't probably start up straight away. Yeah, but fuel pump, ignition. Yeah, it'll start. Wonderful. So just got to sort out the tools and get the car outside and give it a wash. So that's how to change. Certainly the back plug, or diagnose as well, the back plug was defective. Yeah, and quite happy to get it done pretty quickly.